This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond, welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And for the first time in 9 days, we have an on this day video. It's not because the other days are boring, it's just that, there are lots of March moments are remembered for one thing and one thing only. So, gotta know how to do it. Anyhow, on this day, March 13th, 1925, almost a century ago. You're ahead by a century. Kind of. The Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. Actually, no. The Montreal Canadiens won the NHL title against the Toronto St. Patricks. And would go on to face Victoria for the Stanley Cup. Now, there are a couple of things hockey fans have to know. Number one is, how the hell did Victoria, British Columbia, win the Stanley Cup? Well, back before 1926, when the NHL took control of the Stanley Cup was kind of a challenge cup. So the NHL champions would face a team from the Western Hockey Leagues, and the NHL would win every time, except for 1925. But that's neither here or there or anywhere. Anyway, so other hockey fans would know that, wait a minute, how did Montreal wasn't the best team in the NHL that year? No, they weren't. Let me explain. So, anyway, 1925 brought prosperity. 2 new teams. It was a 4-team league with a 5-team league. No, 4 teams. Yeah, you're right. So there were 4 teams: Hamilton, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. Yes, Hamilton had an NHL team back in the 1920s. And I know Hamilton hosts the Tim Hortons Heritage Classic today for the Sabres versus the Leafs. And the Sabres are the home team. Kind of stupid, don't you think? I always thought it would be the Leafs because, the Heritage Classic the home team should be a Canadian team. But whatever. Regardless, they were joined by 2 new teams. One in Montreal called the Maroons, who basically were the English equivalent of the Canadiens. The Maroons would be for the Montreal Maroons. So the Maroons were the English Montreal team, and the Canadiens were the French Montreal side. And for the first time ever, an American team would infiltrate the NHL, and it would be the Boston Bruins. Now, Boston, despite their superior skills the past few years, did not do well in their first season. They were 6-24, only winning 20% of their games. Hamilton was first place with Toronto second and Montreal third. The Habs third, not the Maroons. Ottawa was close, so the top 3 would face each other. So second would play third, Toronto, Montreal, and the winner would face Hamilton and that team. And if Hamilton beats that team to go on, then the winner goes on to the Stanley Cup. However, things would be broken. Now, the 1925 season was actually famous because the Montreal Forum was built. Now, as I said last year when I talked about March 11th, all that, I said the Forum was not originally for the Habs. It would be for Montreal, as Mount Royal was the Canadiens. So the Canadiens' home rink was Mount Royal, but because it was outdoors and they had bad ice issues, the Habs had to play in the Forum against the St. Patricks. But then, of course, they went back to Mount Royal Arena, and then in 1926, they moved to the Forum alongside the Maroons. So, anyway, it was ready to go. Now, with the increase of NHL teams to 6, the schedule got up from 24 games to 30. So, it was huge. Unfortunately, Hamilton complained. Now, it was a good idea. After all, you want to get paid for 6 extra games. You played 24 games plus the playoffs, and now you play 30 plus the playoffs. Now, the Habs beat the St. Patricks, or / Leafs, 5-2. So Montreal would face Hamilton normally for the NHL title. However, the Hamilton team demanded $200 each for the 6 games played during the regular season, and the league did not want it. suspend the players and the team, but they did. Unfortunately, they couldn't compromise, and the Tigers were suspended. And also the fact that Calder would fine the players $200 each themselves. So basically, not only did they not gain the extra $200, they lost $200 themselves, each player. So anyway, yeah, Victoria won Stanley Cup March 30th, 1925. A dark day in NHL history, kind of. I did do it on this day. If you look for on this day, March 30th, 1925, it talked about Victoria Cougars. Anyhow, so Hamilton dissolved the team, kind of. So Hamilton was done as a team. However, New York City wanted a hockey franchise, and they did, as bootlegger Bill Dwyer managed to buy the contracts of all the Hamilton Tigers players and move them to New York to play at Madison Square Garden 3, because the current Madison Square Garden's MSG 4, but MSG 3. And, they brought a hockey team to New York. And no, the Rangers weren't first. It was the New York Americans by a season. I think the Rangers came the next year. Managers me right. So anyway, the New York Americans were bored. All the Hamilton players had to do was pay their $200 and make an official apology to the NHL for their shenanigans, quote unquote shenanigans, if you will, and they will get back into the league. And with the New York Americans, they were doing okay, but they did not get to the Stanley Cup Finals. The New York Americans were snake bit. And ironically, the second NHL team in New York City, that being the Rangers, actually took their thunder and won the 1928 Stanley Cup and produced to make them superstars instead of the other way around. So unfortunately, that plan actually foiled it. Hamilton did have some neutral site games. Back when the NHL decided it was a good idea to have each team play 2 neutral site games out of the 84 games in the 93 and 94 seasons. Of course, that did not go into super fruition. It failed miserably. Hamilton was rumored for years to have an NHL team move in, especially the Predators and the Penguins. Paul Silly wanted to move the team to Hamilton, but unfortunately, Gary Bettman did not like that to happen, or the Coyotes. Bettman's love affair with the Coyotes has pissed off, and the state of Arizona has pissed off a lot of Canadian fans, including myself. Hey, it's only fair. So anyway, that's that. And let's hope for a good Heritage Classic. I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.